Rose life. So this is the second video in my series of Growing for Beginners. I'm here in the polytunnel, and today I'm going to talk about potting on, pricking out and thinning seedlings. So hopefully you will have all started, you'd have got something planted a few weeks ago, some seeds sown, and now you should have some lovely seedlings. And some of you have been asking me what to do next. So you should by now have some seedlings, and I'm going to show you the next phase. So here you can see I've got a really good variety of different seedlings at various stages, and I'm really pleased with the progress there. But what I'm going to show you is these trays here. These are leek. There are some in here, and I've already moved some of these, so there's just a few left in that tray. And then here I've got some of my tomato seedlings. And what I'm going to show you, so for example, with these leek, you can see that they're quite close together here, and they need to be separated and moved elsewhere. These tomatoes are quite crowded now in this pot, and they're established enough to be moved. And I'm just going to take you over and show you where the carrots are. So here you can see these carrot seedlings. If I just move the camera around, and you can see they're really, really close together. So if you imagine the size of your average carrot, I just point here. So we've got these carrots really close together, and you can see if I put my finger in between the two there, that's effectively two plants. Well, they're far too close together. Now, I have already thinned them a little once, but really they need thinning some more. Now, we do need to be careful with carrots in that we can attract the carrot fly. Now, I grow in raised beds, and carrot fly are more ground level, so if you're above a certain height, you are less likely to be affected with carrot fly. And I also do try to have onion and leek and various allium either side of my carrot, because that also helps to discourage the carrot fly. So just having a little look at these, there are two ways here. You can thin by just literally taking a hold of the plant. I mean, I would actually choose that one because it's not as good. So when you've got two close together, look for the one that looks the strongest and the best, and then take the other one. You can either just pull it out, and the other thing you can do is just take some scissors and just snip. So you just want to go along and gently thin. So here, I look at these two. This one looks quite reasonable, so I'm just going to gently pull that one out, leaving this one. And again here, we've got two. So gently I'm going to pull without disturbing too much its neighbour. Take that one away, and that leaves those. And again, working your way along. So that is thinning out, and I would do that with these carrots, usually a little bit earlier, but certainly no later than where they're at now. And there you can see two nicely thinned rows of carrots. So that's thinning. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to transplant these leek seedlings into this bed. So you can see I've already put my little label, so I know what I've got here, and they're going to be next to the carrots. And I'm going to try and do 2 rows of leek into this gap. So I actually have a little dibber, but you can use anything. You don't have to go out and buy anything. You could even just use your finger to poke a hole. So I'm going to be poking a little hole like so, and then I will gently lift, being very careful not to touch or damage the roots, the leek seedling, pop it into the little hole, and then it'll be replanted, and they'll give them enough space to develop. see I now have 2 nice neat rows of leek, and I just need to give those a water. And then the next thing I'm going to show you is these tomatoes, which are really developing nicely, but there's just a few too many in this pot now, so I'm going to put I'm going to move some into different pots to thin them out. Now you can see that these have established, they're developing their what we call our true leaves. So if you just look, you can see, I hope you can see, they've got those funny little leaves that they first started out with, and now they're developing these true leaves. And when we're handling our seedlings, we need to be careful that we're handling them from the leaves, and we're being careful not to touch the stem and the roots. And it's worth remembering that with tomatoes, any of you that are familiar with tomatoes will know that they have these little hairs all the way up their stems coming out. And if you plant them deeper than they're already growing, those little hairs will develop into roots, and that'll give you a really good root system then. So these will go into these pots now to give them a little more space, and then the next time I move them will be into their final growing place. So let's get started. So I've already popped a little label in each of the pots. I've got some compost. So I'm going to carefully, being very careful how I handle the seedlings, I'm just going to have a little dig down. So I'm digging down next to the plant to lift it gently up, and I'm taking it by the leaves and trying not to damage the stalk or the roots. There we are. And then I'm making a hole in my new pot in the compost. Oh, there's a big chunk of bark in there, let's get rid of that. Making a hole, down we go into that hole. I've planted it a little deeper than how it came out of the pot it was already in, and there we are, a transplanted seedling. And then I'll do the same with the next one. So again, I'm handling with the leaves rather than touching the stem or the roots, and then I'm carefully working my way, just my finger underneath, to gently ease the plant out. Now we want them to be out of the soil for as little time as possible, especially when it's warm and dry like this, because they're supposed to be under the soil. So I've made a little hole ready, gently lifting it out. Oh, some good roots on that. And then I'm holding the soil around the roots rather than the actual roots themselves, gently lowering it into place. And there we have, oh, and I can smell, I love the smell of tomatoes. And there we have another transplanted tomato seedling. So I hope you found that useful. So that was you know, now you've got some seedlings and you need to know what to do with them, how to thin them out and how to move them and transplant them on. So you may have things and you may have plans of where you're going to put them, whether that's directly into the ground or into tubs or pots. And if you have fairly established plants and you have a big pot or a tub, you could put them straight, or as I have these beds in the polytunnel, like the leek, I've put them straight into the place that they're going to stay. Whereas with my tomatoes, I've just potted them on into the next size pot to give them room to develop until they're ready to move into their final growing space. So I hope you found that useful. I hope you've all got lots going on. I'm hoping that those of you that watched my first video have actually sown some seeds and they've developed. If you've got things going on and you have sown something after that video, please do pop some comments at the bottom. I'd love to know how you're getting on. I hope you're all enjoying this lovely sunshine. Happy growing. You know, be bold, be brave. You can still get some seeds going. Get your seeds in. I hope those of you that are at the point now that you can take the next phase, this will have helped you and you can start, you know, thinning out and potting on. So thank you so much for watching. Take care and I'll see you all again soon.